All right, let's get started. Welcome everybody to another episode of Achieve10x TV. My name is Jimmy Yin. I'm a licensed acupuncturist, herbalist, and nutritionist. And we are interviewing local people who are helping our local community, especially during this pandemic time. We need to stick together. My gosh, we need to put the unity in community. So I'm stealing that from him. And today I'm super excited to invite and interview Alicia Hoffman. She's the CEO of WhizBiz Kids. So Alicia, why don't you introduce
Yes.
yourself?
All right. So I'm Alicia Hoffman, and I founded WhizBiz Kids to have a program that will empower kids with the entrepreneurial and financial skills that they need in the modern economy. And my background is in finance. I'm a CPA, and I was 20 years in the corporate world within finance and accounting. And I really wanted to create something that would prepare kids for the future. And I didn't see that there was anything out there. So I created WhizBiz Kids, and I love what I do. We've got several programs. We've got summer camps, which are, little up in the air right now, given the environment. We have leadership programs that we're still running virtually. We're meeting with our apprentices. And then we also have curriculum that we have built for schools. And then we also have a board game coming out as well. So we're up to lots of good things.
Nice. So yeah, that's a lot. I didn't realize you're that. You have so many things going on. So
Yes.
is the curriculum? Well, actually, let me stay on the surface a little before I dive in
Okay. Okay.
detailed questions about what you just said. So it's not just financial literacy. That's
Right.
what I'm hearing, right? It's
Not.
more for like entrepreneur. I mean, why don't you tell me what else? What are the skills that you're helping to these kids to learn and
Mm.
from your program?
Right. So great question. Part of what makes our program different from other programs is we use the Socratic method, which is project-based learning. You might have heard of that, or the listeners might have heard of that. And essentially, it's the kids are taking on the learning themselves. So we're not spoon feeding them information, and they're actually starting and running their own business. And there's all kinds of learnings from that. And layered with that learning is entrepreneurial skills that we teach them. And the lists are like communication, acknowledgement, accountability, integrity, keeping our word, doing what we say we're going to do, and doing the best thing when no one's looking.
Yeah.
And one of our big ones is breakdowns and breakthroughs. So we teach them that it's not a perceived failure, but if something doesn't go as planned and you're committed to something, then it's just, you define what the impact is, and then you make an actionable plan to have it go better next time. So there's a lot of shame built around failure, and then you don't want anyone to know that you made a mistake. So then you get out of integrity because you're trying to, just kind of sweep it under the rug. But in our program, we celebrate when breakdowns happen, and there's a chart, and the kids will be lining up to write down what their breakdown and what the impact is, and then what action they'll take to have it go better next time. So, and this is something that I want them to take throughout their daily lives. And on our website for parents, on our parent page, we have a list of all our entrepreneurial skills, because the best part and the sweet spot is when you take that and you practice it. So it's not just learning the skills, but putting it into practice and kind of developing that muscle over using these entrepreneurial skills, so they kind of become second nature. And what we're wanting to do is build their confidence. So whatever they choose to do once they leave home, that they know that they've got it. They're going to know that the path from here to there is not going to be a smooth line, right? We can't guarantee that, nor do we want to tell them that that's how it'll be. We want them prepared for that. And one of my favorite quotes is, "You prepare the child for the path, not the path for the child." And so by giving them these skills, then they'll be prepared to go out and accomplish a life of, whatever they choose. So
Yeah.
that's our goal.
Yeah, that's awesome. I really like what you said, celebrate the breakdowns. Because I also do, I coach other practitioners, acupuncturists, and so I always say failure is a great thing. If you're not failing, then you're not really moving forward. Failure, failures, and also one of my mentors also said, it's impossible to fail. And he says, it's impossible to fail because as long as you don't quit.
Right.
So if you don't quit, you will never fail.
That's right.
But I love, to celebrate breakdowns. So, so how do you, so you're teaching, you're saying it's a Socratic method, but at the same time, you're also teaching them these skills. So how are you actually teaching them if you're letting them, do it by themselves at the same time? So where's the teaching part come in?
The teaching part comes in that we share with them the skills and we give them examples. And then throughout their project-based learning, as they're running their business, they've got, breakdowns happening all over the place because, they're running a business. They're interacting with teamwork. So they're practicing communication and acknowledgement, and they are assigned certain roles of their business. So that's their accountability. So they're learning how to manage their own accountability and be responsible. And what does that mean? And okay, if I need to do something else, I need to transfer my accountability. And so the learning comes in, we explain what the skills are, but we're also showing them while they're doing that and reinforcing that. So we're acknowledging them, or we're saying, okay, well, whose accountability was that? So the business is, they come up with the business idea and we are not telling them what to do. So we're like guided facilitators when they're actually running their business. So, when things happen, it's like, well, I wonder whose accountability that is. It's just asking questions to get them to think. And from camp, our first 2 days, they're coming together, they're learning their business, they're doing their own market research, they're getting acquainted as a team, they're doing product prototyping. And then on Tuesday, they formulate their business and then they pitch it to the Piranha Pit. As you're aware, you were a piranha for one of our
I was going to ask you about that.
Yes. And so that gives them the experience of thinking on their feet. We know that they're not going to have all the answers. So then they come up with their supply list and we go shopping for them. And then Wednesday through Friday, they are running their business. Now, Wednesday is kind of, I call it the deer in the headlights day, because they're so used to adults giving them the answer. So Wednesday's when they kind of get the hang of it, and they tend to swarm our team, the camp team, and ask questions. Well, I don't know what I need to be doing, or, we ran out of supplies, or this or that. There's all kinds of things. And our staff and the apprentices were trained to say, well, who could you talk with about that? Or I wonder whose accountability that is, or, who's in charge of product supplies. So we just gently kind of push them back to, or have them think about, how can I figure this out on my own? And by Friday, they literally leave camp like 2 inches taller because they've been given that safe space to figure things out on their own.
Yeah. So a camp is typically 1 week long.
Camp is typically 1 week, but we also have developed curriculum that's 30 lessons at 45 minutes a lesson that has the same project plan to where they're building a business over time. That's what, one of the keys is that they're managing this project over time, and that's where all the learning comes.
Okay. So this curriculum, I think it's new. I don't think you had it when.
It is new.
Yeah.
Yes, it's
So
very exciting.
yeah. So is it an online curriculum or is it?
Yes, it's a digital curriculum and it's bilingual. So we'll have it in English and in Spanish. So
Nice.
I don't know if you've been to my website lately, but my website is also in Spanish now. There's a little toggle button that you can switch to, and everything's in Spanish.
Okay. And so you're trying to get this curriculum into the school system.
Yes. Our first market
Uh-huh.
that is already requesting this, interestingly enough, is in Latin America. So
Wow.
in the private schools, they are they're buying different curriculum, and they're currently buying robotic curriculum, and that's who we've partnered with to sell the entrepreneurial and financial curriculum. And there's a big need for it. Mexico just came out with some educational incentives, and now financial curriculum is a mandate in Mexico. So so it's very timely. And again, there's nothing else like it. There might be, it's more than just financial education. It's the entrepreneurial piece as well.
Well, that's pretty interesting. I mean, I don't think here in the US we require that financial curriculum.
Well, so interestingly enough, so my curriculum designer, Jasmine, she was a teacher in Cedar Park Middle School, actually. She was a 6th grade math teacher. And there is some financial literacy requirements, but it's like credit, balancing a checkbook, and things like that. It's not business finance. So they're not taught what a profit and loss is. They're not taught, okay, if I sell, if I plan to sell X number of widgets at this amount, but it costs me, this much per widget, how will I be profitable? It's not that type of financial literacy. It's more personal finance, which is needed, but it's not in the framework of a business and of being an entrepreneur.
Okay. So why is it important for our school system to have this entrepreneur curriculum basically in our school system, like earlier on, instead of when we get out of college and then we open a business and then we're like, oh crap, I don't know any of this.
So I don't know about you, but when I started my own business, I spent 20 years in the corporate world. So then I had to come out and I had to learn about networking and the value of that. And I had to, I had the financial piece, but it's like, how am I going to get customers? How do I market? And there's just this whole umbrella of things that you're not taught. And the economy has changed. So when I graduated from high school and went to work graduated from college, and went to work in the corporate world, I thought, all right, I can, I'll have this job and I'll be kind of taken care of, but that world is gone, really. So now we're part of the gig economy, and roughly, 1 in 3 people have their own business. And then half of Americans say that they've got a side hustle. So the landscape has changed, and I want to ensure that the kids are our future, and that they have the skills to know that they have an option. They don't have to graduate from college and then go straight to work for somebody. That might be a good plan for some, or they could apprentice under somebody and start a business.
Yeah. So it sounds like, well, the skills that the kids are going to learn at WhizBiz Kids is, lots of entrepreneur skills that even if they don't want to open a business when they get out of college, these skills that they learn through your program are going to help them in life. and just,
Yes.
and because even if you're working in the corporate world, you still need to know how to network. You still need to know how to, work with a team. You still need to know how to build a team and so forth, right?
Yes, exactly. And that's the beauty of this. When they're learning it young, they can practice it at home with their parents. And so it's really important that the parents reinforce the learning at home. So that they can get practice in it, so that when they're going to college, if they choose to go to college, they're not, ashamed to raise their hand and ask a question of their professor, or they're not, they know the benefit in walking up and shaking hands with all their professors, and, making that introduction, and having that connection with them.
Yeah, it's interesting that you said that, because I was one of those students that I was scared. I never raised my hand. I
I
never
was too.
never went to the professor and introduced myself, and I didn't do any of that because I was
I
scared.
didn't either. And I tell my girls all the time, and thankfully Mallory,
Yeah.
I've ingrained it in her, and Mallory, she has a relationship with all of her professors. It's like, cause
That's
you
awesome.
do that. Yeah.
Yeah, because I would think if I'm a professor and a kid came up to me, introduced themselves, very confident, I would be super impressed.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And so that's what we want. That's what we want them to have that practice in.
Yeah.
And not only that, just to see the value in what it can get them, in their career,
Yeah.
in whatever they choose to do.
Yeah. And not only it sounds like, if they get into it early, get into this program early, learn the skills, yes, they can practice at home, but I think it's important probably to practice in school. And so it
Yes.
should help their school, their relationships in school with their friends, their teachers, and so forth.
One of our skills that I forgot to mention, our entrepreneurial skills, is leadership. And our definition of leadership is giving others the opportunity to shine and be great. And the example that I give for kids to take into their daily life or to consider is that when you're in school and you're assigned to a group project, there if you're a high achieving teen, you might want to kind of just take over. And, I know how to do this. So when we get in our group, I just start assigning things. Well, what I challenge them to do is, you might have an idea, but you could start off and saying, I have an idea about how we could do this, but I want to hear from others. What are y'all's suggestions? And open it up and give others the opportunity to shine and be great. And, talk to the shy one of the group, or, don't just assume that you have all the answers. So, yeah.
That's good. So another thing that you mentioned was the board game. So is that
Yes.
is that going to be something like Robert Kiyosaki has it for cash? Is it cash flow, something like that, board game?
Well, it's interesting. We did a lot of research for this board game, but there's a bit of you have to advance, and you have to advance from employee to business owner, or no, yeah, to business owner to entrepreneur. I forget. There's several stages that you go to, and so, but you also have to collect happiness points. So it's a combination of moving from, employee and kind of working your way up.
Yeah.
But it's not all about money, because we know it's not all about money. So if you spend, money on a vacation for to attend your best friend's destination wedding, that's happiness, that's good stuff. Or charity. So there's some things that we layer in that we want them to know, okay, there's some good things that you can do with money. It's not just about having the biggest house or having the most stuff. what we tell them in camp is, we're giving you the secrets of financial freedom, not because you have more stuff. And I'll say, I said, you guys have enough stuff, right? And, they'll begrudgingly at first they're like, no, and then like, yes. So what we challenge them to do is, we're giving you this so that you can be a contribution in the world. Yeah. And ask, like, what is your, what are you passionate about? And at this age, a lot of them they think of animals and pets and things like that. But some of them are like, well, my mom has arthritis and I'd love to give to the Arthritis Foundation. Or so they're starting to get it. And kind of our litmus test at the end of camp is, if they've gotten that lesson, is once they have figured out what their profits are, we give them the opportunity to donate to a charity of their choice.
Yeah.
So, there's the discussion on, okay, what can we do and how can we give back? So that's, the big lesson for all of us. And I want them to understand that. And we've built that into the game basically as well.
Nice. Yeah, I love that, because it's really about paying it forward, in my opinion.
Yeah.
If our next generation if we don't pay it forward to our next generation, we're not going to have much of a world.
Oh, right. I know. And I think that kids inherently get it.
Yeah.
WhizBiz Kids participated in a robotics challenge in February. There was a big robotics challenge at the HEB Center. Mm-hmm. And we had an entrepreneurial challenge, a business challenge, and it was an international challenge. And we had a team from Africa compete, and we had a team from Mexico. And essentially, you were tasked with coming up with a prototype, presenting your prototype, and presenting, the different facets of the business, the marketing plan, the CEO, the overall inspiration for it, and the financial. And the team from Mexico blew us away. They created a prototype that would actually, the machine already exists. They were going to convert it to solar powered, but what they were going to do is have the profits go to a home in Tampico, Mexico for children with terminal cancer. Like it was just, the judges, we were just sitting there looking at each other like, I'm not crying. Are you crying? I mean, so I don't know. We just need to kind of steer them in that direction. And I don't know, they're off and running with it.
Awesome. Yeah, that's great. So any coming down, just went by super quick. So any last words about WhizBiz Kids that you want to share with our audience?
I don't know. I would share with parents if they want to, we have a parent resource page on our website. And if they want to go check out kind of what our entrepreneurial skills are and some ideas on how to kind of reinforce that at home, that's the best thing that they can do. If they don't have access, to WhizBiz Kids, or if they, can't come to camp or something like that, we do have resources out there. And that's the best thing that they could do, is really just don't do anything for your kids that they can't do for themselves, just to get that experience at home in a safe environment. And they're going to fail, and that's okay. But you want them to build up that confidence for when they leave home, and whatever their next step on their path is.
Yeah, very true. So where can they find you?
It's our web address is WhizBizKids.com, and it's WhizBizKids.com, WhizBizKids.com.
Awesome. So if you can, actually, I'll post it below this interview so people can get more information. So if the camps are still a go, when would be the first camp so people can get ready for it?
The first camp is scheduled for June, the last week in June, like June 24th, I think it is. And all three of our camps this summer are going to be at Balcones Country Club. So we're still kind of in that wait and see. you know, I know that Texas is opening up, but it really depends on if the parents are comfortable. And I completely understand that. I'm a parent myself. So, but our first camp is slated for the end of June. And then we have 2 more in July as well at Balcones Country Club in Northwest Austin.
So if, you know, if it turns out that you can't have, let's say people sign up for the June camp, and you can't, you know, let's say that for some reason, you know, with this COVID-19 situation, that camp can't happen. You can always have those people that signed up just, you know, go to the next camp. All right.
Yes, that's what we'll plan to do.
Okay.
And in the meantime, we're going to be getting our curriculum up and hopefully on a platform that if parents want to do some homeschooling, that they can take that and, you know, use in their homeschool environment or things like that. So they can kind of reinforce the financial piece and the entrepreneurial at home.
Okay, nice. Okay. Yeah. So if anybody is interested, don't wait, just sign up. And if it turns out that the first camp, you know, isn't going to be a part, you know, happen, then it's okay. You're going to be to the next camp. So
we'll shift it down.
Yeah. I would suggest everybody, you know, I know it's hard to think ahead, but, you know, think ahead for your kids this summer and get them enrolled ASAP. And, you know, it will, if it doesn't happen again, it will roll to the next one, but at least you'll have your spot because those camps have limited number of spots, right?
They do. Yes, they do. And I've had parents even through this that they're like calling up and they, you know, they want that spot even in the first camp. So people are taking us up on it, and we only have 3 camps this summer. So you know, we're going to be capped when it's full. So,
parents, don't wait. Get your kids signed up ASAP. Okay. You'll figure it out later.
Yes.
All right. It was awesome talking to you. Good seeing you again.
Yes. Jimmy, thank you so much.
You're very welcome. And we'll do another one. I'll contact you to do another one on your account, your bookkeeping biz. All right.
Awesome. Take care, Jimmy. Tell Jessica I said hi.
I will. Okay. Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye.